Glad you're here. I sent you the agenda electronically so that you can use the links and have the handouts and everything that way. We are recording this today so that we can send it out to everybody who couldn't come today. And so we'll just get right on it. Any good news moments from anybody? Any things that are happening with your districts or pieces? Yes.
Well, leftover from the Spike 150 celebration, we had two reporters from the China Daily newspaper visit Granite School District's Calvin Smith Elementary 2 days ago. And we're going on it anyway. Really excited about it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
When you get that
If you
article,
could just
send
get
it
the
to us.
look on their faces when they saw what was going on, they were just enchanted. Yeah. Yeah, I told them to send me the link.
Awesome.
Cool, great.
That's great.
Thank you, Grant.
Yeah.
The seal of biliteracy, the fact that teachers are now thinking about the seal of biliteracy and thinking about how to better serve their students has made our Harriman High School department, world language department, look at how they can better serve the needs of all of the native speaking students who are looking at offerings and classes that will help that. So I don't know what their plans are, but they're looking at getting more of their native speakers,
Excellent.
served.
Recruiting them,
Yeah,
actually.
right, actually.
Fantastic. That is such great news.
On that vein, Carl knows that we have dug deep with the seal, and we now have some alternate languages that we were searching for some assessments for the future. They're not seniors now, but
Which
things
languages?
like Bengali, and a couple that I have written down at home that I can't pronounce. That I have to see them to pronounce them. But they're out of an area in Africa. And I researched the language and everything, really interesting. But we have found a resource, and so we are going to make that happen. So in Wasatch, which, we're not a huge district, we're looking in 2 years, we'll be awarding it in probably 6 years. We're pretty excited. Yeah.
I'm well on that. I've worked with Seal, working with the Refugee Center, Altitude Trek, Fernando Rubio, and Title III, Cristel Estrada, to provide those kind of resources for you so that we can find folks and train them in how to do an OPI for those languages for those high schools. And so Granite's probably I've given you a sample of what they sent me as far as their reporting goes, and so we're working to provide those. So if you have a language, some kind of verification, email me and let me see what I can find for you to provide that connection, provide that seal for those kids. All right. Any other moments?
Sure, so that we have the end of the Spanish Bridge course has the film festival in Park City on Monday. So it's the Puentes Film Festival of film shorts. So after we have our winners, we'll put those, I hope we can get permission for students to allow us to put their links up. Student produced is the end of, that was their project-based piece of the course to go with the university writing and speaking. So hopefully those will be publishable on our website, and you can share them with DLI kids, and it's all in Spanish, obviously. So, and then we also have wonderful things coming for Chinese and French, but I don't have the specific stuff. I'll get it out to you.
Where and when is that? What time?
It's on Monday. Just email me.
Okay.
It's at their
at
auditorium.
10 a.m.
You can come.
Park City High School.
I was gonna say, it would be
10 a.m.
Yeah, the whole thing is in Spanish, so if you'd like to come and be part of that, I'm sure there's room. So.
Okay.
Great. I want to recognize Nedra.
Thank you.
This will be our last world language meeting with her. She's retiring.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I will let you know who's taking my place. They haven't decided, so I'll email you as to who send out that information.
I know, I'm retiring.
I'm 35.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So cool. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Great. Fantastic. Any other
That's a real good news moment.
Okay. Apple testing, you've got the new schedule there. The one change we are making, the data kind of spoke to us this year, and so we're changing the form that Chinese will be using in 6th grade. We're going to be moving it back to Form A for 6th grade Chinese, but all of the languages will stick with Form B. They were doing really well with that. And you see the new testing window there for you, November 4th, December 20th, 2019. We were able to secure one more year with LTI to provide that testing for us. The timing was short, and so we've extended the contract one more year. Then we'll go out to open bid for next year for the testing, the assessment department. So we'll have one more year with LTI. I'm sure we'll have continued, but probably go to a public bid. Just wanted to let you know that. Any questions on the Chinese switch back to Form A? Oh, yes, Pam?
So when they get into 7th grade, the projected target is such that they could take A or B, and this year the kids said that Form B was really hard. So I've said that the teachers can decide if they want to do Form A or B in 7th grade, and then there might even be some lower students in 8th grade. Is that okay?
No.
No, okay, tell me.
It messes up our data.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
because it's not, because in the longitudinal studies, we're not comparing apples to apples.
Okay, so in 7th grade, they need to do Form B.
The data supported that as they were going through it. It's okay. They're doing fine. It might be a little hard, but it might be a little push those teachers a little bit too. So, which kind of pushes me into the AP information and why they're doing it in the fall. Yeah.
Should I assume that they're going to be tested at the same grade levels on the same
Yes.
every other year?
It's the same schedule. You've got it in your packet. Yep.
Okay.
Or, as far as you said, messing up the scores or the record, I found out that, I don't know if there's a big difference. I found out when I was looking for one student, and it is also true to other students, that in the Apple testing, there is one that just says Chinese and the other one that just says Mandarin Chinese. So I cannot find him in the Mandarin Chinese, but I found him on the Chinese
Oh, wow. Interesting.
test. So I wonder if that messes up the,
I'm wondering, that's good information. I'll check with LTI to eliminate that choice.
yes.
That'll be important.
Carl?
Yeah.
So 9th grade is not going to do the 3 tests they did this year? They're just going to do the speaking?
So 9th grade is, we actually had them do
'Cause this year they did,
A2 and 3. I'll send you out a new one. I need to fix that.
is there any way to let them do speaking also?
Say it again?
Can they do the speaking also? I mean, because this year they did their listening, reading, and writing. It would have been nice to get the speaking piece also if we're trying to do the correlation with AP scores and Apple, if they had the full battery instead of just
Yeah.
pieces of it.
Let me pass something by you. I wanted to get your input on this in 8th grade. LTI has offered to provide the OPIC for 8th grade to kind of give us proficiency data in 8th grade for the same price as the A2 and 3. Would you be interested in that? So that you can start getting proficiency data by 8th grade?
Instead of or in addition to?
Instead of.
So it'd just be a speaking test then instead of,
Well, the OPIC is a computer-based speaking test. It's a proficiency-based test rather than a performance test. Right now, it's a performance towards proficiency, but OPIC, when I spoke with the president of LTI about this issue, we really didn't have the opportunity to check the proficiency process. And she said, well, the OPIC does. And I said, well, we can't afford the OPIC. And she said, well, I will offer you the OPIC for one of your grade levels if you wanted to do that. And I thought to myself that maybe the 8th grade would be a good year? Give me your feedback, see what you think.
Tracy, you go.
Oh, go ahead, Ed.
I was just gonna say, I don't know as much as some other people in this room, but the writing piece as they get ready for AP, I think it's 8th grade is the wrong place to put that because they need that more exposure to writing as they get ready for taking that AP test in 9th grade. So maybe in 7th grade at proficiency level, either your mid junior high level or your beginning junior high level, depending on your district. But I think 8th grade is the wrong place to put that.
Okay.
If it was in addition to, it would be great.
Right.
But the reading and the writing piece, we really need that data follow-up from the 6th grade, as she was just saying.
Let me look at our budget to see if we can do in addition to.
'Cause I think that would be the perfect combination, but, you know,
It would be, I think it would be great timing for the kids because then it becomes far more real. Then we're talking this is your actual proficiency versus, we've had Apple scores and everything. And I agree, but I don't want to give up the writing.
Great feedback. Let me go back to the budget and see how much we've got. I know that this year the bill came to $256,000. The legislature had awarded us $268 for this year and has given us $295 for next. But we're also kind of pushing up a little bit into those numbers. So I'll bet I'll ask LTI, see if we can do it together. We'll just charge them for both. I think we can do it. Don't take that to the bank, but let me. Yeah.
And even if you were to just add that writing test from Apple, and that's only $5 a kid. I know it's a lot when you add it up, but in the 8th, if you were to add do the OPIC and that writing, then that would get that piece in that they're looking for. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but.
Well, I don't know. I'd have to just do a quick little numbers check as how many 8th graders we do have.
Exactly.
And just multiply it out by 10, and I'll bet we can do it. Give me about a month to work on that before I let you know. And I'll send out a new thing with that information. Is that okay? Mm-hmm. All right. Thanks for the feedback. I think this is valuable as we move ahead to be able to provide that data for our kids and our teachers and kind of inform our practice as well. All right. Anything else on Apple? You want to give feedback on or? All right, excellent. AP information. So if you'll, as we click on that link, I talked with Nathan Hall, who is our representative for AP at the State Board of Education, and I said, can you kind of explain to me why AP has changed the way that they're doing this and why we have to enroll and order the test in the fall? And he said, well, AP on the one hand is a business. But on the other hand, what their research tells them is that when you order and pay for the test in the fall, it does 2 or 3 things. Their data showed that the school districts who had at-risk students and had already paid for that test actually put in supports to make sure that they were more successful, those AP students. And also, when students and districts and teachers have kind of skin in the game before as the year starts, then they're more likely to provide better instruction and prepare them more than if they would just order at the last minute and then say, well, you shouldn't take it and you should, and kind of send them in different directions. So that's what they're saying. They also said that students persisted and scored better in their pilot program after they had paid for the test at the beginning rather than at the end. So that's why College Board has done that. If in that link, if you'll notice right here, the new AP process is a place where you can go to kind of understand the timelines. Here's how to set up your school for success, outreach and preparation, Principal promote training, teachers, they have teacher guides, they've got everything all set up, exam registration, how to do it, what the fees are, and all of that. And then back, if we'll go back one, they actually have, and I've given you samples in your packet, the AP resources, and it gives you the tools, unit guides, progress checks, and things, the question banks. And then, let me go back one more piece here.
Carl,
Yes.
I know I emailed you about this, so I went to the College Board brought AP coordinators out to California to go over all the new things. So here are my questions about the new AP. So there's some new incredible things, as you'll see if you look through these, for AP. One of them is the fact that teachers, every 3 weeks, teachers can send out performance checks. But I'm wondering about our DLI 5 because they have not completed a course audit because they're not a traditional AP class. So that's a conundrum.
They can't access it?
I don't think they can access it because they haven't, because they're not an official AP. So they're kind of at a disadvantage.
They are. I'm not sure how to solve that at this point because we've set it up that way intentionally for the high school credit issue, going back and forth. And so I do know that in here, there is a place, and I don't know why I can't see it now, but there were links in here to be able to order those things. The handouts that I gave you, all of that, there were links here to be able to.
AP coordinators on May 21st will get the links to download the binders for their district. For a teacher, they're only available if you've done the AP audit.
Right.
But AP coordinators at the district level can download them on May 21st. So they could download for their DLI 5.
And slide it to them.
And get it to them, the guide, the instructional guide. But it's always going to have that reference to doing the performance checks and that. So I don't know whether that's something that you guys can finesse or figure out.
Well, I don't know if we had our DLI 5 class audited, and
That's what I'm thinking.
that's what we did. So because I don't have any AP classes at the middle school, but we teach DLI 5, and I wanted them to be able to take it at the school.
Well, and that's what I'm wondering whether we need to do, because the AP's not tracking how we label that class.
Right.
So I did that, and so she's. Yeah,
Roxanne helped you with that?
Because if they do an audit, I know it's a pain in the neck, but if they were to do an audit, then they would be registered. They would be recognized by AP as an AP teacher.
And that's what we did. And so even though she's teaching DLI 5.
And that's the kind of the question I wanted to broach. Is there plans from each language to have our DLI 5 complete the audit, be able to get on that performance dashboard, and be able to utilize that with their students?
So Nathan Ock's direction to me said, have LEAs work with College Board to work out these questions specifically. So the question is, do you need us to say, yeah, go ahead and do that, or?
Well, and I guess I don't know enough about the curriculum, but is that going to be in conflict with the DLI 5 curriculum and what they're doing?
It shouldn't.
No, she used the DLI 5 curriculum in doing it.
It's backward designed for AP themes.
Okay, so.
And it might really help to have, I know a few teachers that weren't really doing the progress checks, and so maybe that would be the motivation.
So,
so they should. I mean, there shouldn't be a problem in them becoming AP.
I think that's exciting.
And if they go through because I had her go, attend all the 4-day AP training.
AP,
they write the you know,
They
she.
do the-
They do their
run-
audit
right,
piece for the
They do
audit.
it, so it really wasn't a big deal. I mean, when I told her, I said, we're gonna get the school, you know, authorized to do AP and everything, and she says, fine, I've got everything already written, and it was not a big deal for her to.
This is Roxanne.
Well, no, my
Oh, your
teacher,
teacher.
my middle school teacher.
So as we visit with, go ahead, Leo.
So the question that I had is like more like how, depends on the districts and how the teachers of that class feel about doing that.
So what we can do is just say, this is what we recommend from the DLI program. And then have the districts get that, the registration, the audit, and go through that process.
Because I knew this was coming, and there was no way I was gonna not have her have access to
That's
it.
where we're doing.
So you're saying, Carl, that the shift to align more directly with AP needs to come from the district? Is that what I'm hearing you say?
It does.
There you go.
According to Nathan Ock, that's what he's saying is that because at the state level, we cannot access those accounts, and we really can't, kind of manipulate that for you, saying it needs to come from the districts to be able to do that. But what can come from us is, we'll send out, it won't be an edict, but we'll send out a recommendation to say, you should register and audit this ninth grade class for all of your DLI 9 courses in all languages.
You'll send that out too?
Yeah. I'll send that out.
Wait.
How do you feel about that, everybody? I think it's a good move in the right direction. All right, sweet.
I was thinking about that.
So in here, there are lots of resources. Just click on the different links. It'll take you to where you need to go and work through those for AP. Taken care of. Awesome.
There is one for each specific content area, including each language, which does have a few updates to changes that might have been made to the test for next year. You may want to look at those specific.
The more
languages.
conversant you can be and the more independent you can be on that process, the better. So that's great. Super. Any other comments or contributions to AP knowledge here? All right, let's go to item 5. Dual Language Immersion Licensing Guidance Document. This is a new document for you. It's a course code assignment and licensing guide. What this is for, you can give them to your registrars in your elementary schools to make sure that the right teachers are assigned in Cactus for these courses. We've also now provided you, if you're doing kindergarten and a 2-teacher model, these are the licenses that they need to have in those areas if you're going to assign a DLI Cactus course code to them. And so what we're saying is that the English-speaking 2-teacher model is just a regular K6 or K3 license area. And if it's a 2-teacher model kindergarten world language teacher, they need to have a K3 or K6 with for a language endorsement, or a 1.8 or secondary license with a world language and DLI endorsement. So it gives you choices on how to help your teachers if you're going to do a true 50-50 2-teacher kindergarten model.
So if I see that, so if my world language side teacher is K3 or K6, she doesn't need a DLI endorsement?
Correct.
That's a change then, okay.
Well, it's not a change, it's just how we're going to do it.
Okay.
It's new. We've just added, the licensing department said we need to get this standardized, we need to get it licensed. And I said, okay, well, sometimes kindergarten teachers, we shouldn't put them through the same, let's give them a break if we can. And so that was the compromise for kindergarten teachers. Yeah, I've given it.
Is it on the sheet?
It should be part of all of your handouts on the.
Oh, on the, okay.
I attached all of these handouts for you as well.
Okay.
Is that helpful?
Anything different with secondary?
We haven't done secondary yet. Secondary is the same as it is now. It's the same course code, same everything, same license. world language DLI endorsement with their license.
Oh, so these course codes, are they different course codes?
So that's different starting first.
Same course codes, well, we just added course codes for kindergarten.
Right.
And what I did is I asked them to add the 4th through 6th. So let me keep going here on the kindergarten piece. And that is, if you have a kindergarten 1 teacher model, the educator must have a K6 or K3 and license in Chinese endorsement. And then also, educators, down underneath that on page 2 of the kindergarten piece, educators with 1 teacher model should have both cactus assignments. Okay, they need to have both of those cactus assignments. Now, this is the sticky part. International guest teachers are issued a license with a temporary, or a special license with temporary world language and DLI endorsement for the duration of their J1 visa stay. They are not issued a standard Utah license and therefore may not be the teacher of record and do not qualify to teach in a 1 teacher model. Teachers of record must have at least a standard level 1 Utah teaching license. Okay? That's really, really important. They can't be the teacher of record, so therefore they can't do a 1 teacher model classroom.
So when is this officially effective?
No. So if you have that and they put them in, they're going to be underqualified. That's for kindergarten and 1 through 6. Yes, Jill.
I just wondered for secondary if there's any way we can emphasize the need to get the DLI endorsement through. Is there any? I don't know. I'm seeing that is a gray area, and it's being for high schools.
So you want a second sheet, 7 through 12 or 7 through 9?
So it's in in our assurances, and I believe that's all in line with you. It's from USBE, but I think that the high schools are not seeing that as a necessary. Some are not seeing it as a necessary.
I'll create that and send it out to you.
Thank you.
That would be really helpful.
That'd be great.
And
So
then-
they need to commit to that if they haven't. We don't expect that they have DLI endorsement as a high school teacher or a former AP teacher, of course, but I don't see any commitment to go that direction and then to have that information on how to access these courses around the state now.
With the licensing piece? Okay, we'll create that for the 7 through 9. Well, 7, 12.
Great, thanks. I think maybe that's been the problem.
On the second page, which is the grades 1 through 6 dual immersion assignments, just wanted to draw your attention to, like under each box is the coding for 00X, what that means for each language. So in other words, for specific Chinese, you'll notice that it's 2202003200X. If you go down to the code, 002 means first grade, 003 at the end of that means third grade, and second grade, and so on. Okay? I didn't want to have sheets and sheets and sheets and sheets. But each language, each grade level, each thing, this just solved it for us.
Okay.
And that'll take you through the 3 boxes for the 1 teacher model, the world language teacher model, 2 teacher model, and so on. Does that help? Kind of help clarify, have a document? And I will get the 7 through 12. So let me just write that down.
As long as they're not a guest, or they guest teacher, then she's.
All right, any questions? Yeah, Sharon.
I think I heard somewhere that the state office is not accepting the UFLA OPI. Or OPI.
So down here, number 4, on item 5. Item 4, on C4.
Oh, okay, got it. Sorry, didn't read
Uniform
that.
Language Association OPI is no longer accepted for licensing for an OPI. That was a change this year with Travis. Travis just said, we're not doing it anymore. So that's how come I've added the links for you. If they're looking for an OPI, they can do the OPIC. That is accepted now. and the OPI through ACTFL. And then I gave you the Praxis link in case somebody's looking for that as well.
Is that effective immediately or?
April 15th.
Okay, because we may have some people we've given.
So that's for people who are seeking a license, not for those who already have a license.
Right. If they're done and they had a UFLA thing and they've got their endorsement, no problem. It's moving forward. Moving forward.
So those that took
Yeah.
and this just might make licensing more difficult, so I understand if the answer might be no. But in two-way programs, was there any discussion about the English teacher having an ESL endorsement?
Not been any discussion about that.
Would it make some things a little easier in some ways?
But the more restrictions we put on licensing,
I know.
the less choice you have. You might not be able to find a teacher with an ESL endorsement, and therefore they become underqualified, and therefore it costs you money, and therefore dual immersion is causing this problem for us, So, yeah, that would be ideal, and maybe you could, in your hiring process, put that in the ad.
Yeah, we're looking for it. It's just with different perspectives from administration. Yeah, kind of. And when it comes from the state, and it's like, Greg used to just always say it was highly recommended, and that seemed to help, but I get it. I get that part of it. I just, they're
Wish you
teaching
had more
English
teeth,
as a
right?
second language, so it's like,
Wish we had more teeth.
Yeah.
Sherry?
So I may be just repeating what she said, because I couldn't hear her, I'm sorry. So my understanding then, if we have a teacher we hired, said they had to get an OPI, they got the UFLA one, they don't have their world language endorsement yet, or dual immersion, we required that for hire, but they don't have their endorsement yet, we need to have them do the ACTFL
Yes.
prior to licensing.
Yes.
Okay.
Prior to sending in their application.
Their endorsement application.
TI OPIC, it looks like.
OPIC or OPI?
And I don't know if it'll help anybody else, but I approached Dixie State Testing Center to offer the OPIC so that I could just send everybody that needs. And anyway, they were very good about doing that, and so we're able to just do that. So I just throw that out there that if you don't have accessibility, as we don't, to everything, I created it. And
That's
so-
awesome.
That's a good idea.
How much is it, the OPIC?
About $80, 70 or 80.
So it's cheaper than the ACTFL.
Yeah, oh yeah, it is.
And that's through
LTI, yeah. And so, because they offer different tests at their testing centers, so anyway, yeah, so I just throw that out there.
She sends me an email saying, hey.
Any other?
So this is a question, but I thought that instructors could do the OPIC anywhere at at a district office at any.
Proctor or something.
Yeah, with a proctor or
Well,
something.
possibly, but then it got to be, there was just some advantage to saying, here's how you call, it's gonna cost the same thing.
Right.
And so here's what you do, go over to Dixie at the testing center
Okay.
and take it.
It simplified your life a
It
little.
did, because then we weren't having to make sure we had a proctor there, and, yeah. I don't know with the OPIC I can't remember, but it simplified things.
We'll check and see we'll check and see if we can do it through the Granite Testing Center. We're the testing center for the Wasatch Front through USBE, so. Sharon, will you check on that?
Yeah, that'd be great.
And there's different fee, and you need to decide as a district what you need. Like, I have a whole instruction sheet for my teachers, but do you need, do you require that they expedite it, or because there's more fees for each service. And so I would just maybe go through it as you're looking at it to give your teachers, your prospective teachers, how to maneuver through the site to get it ordered, so that they aren't having to pay all these expedited services that you may not need or care about.
So one more piece about, just so that you know kind of the inner workings of how endorsements work. I get emails from teachers that have their transcript and their OPI score and their praxis, and they say, okay, go, Carl, do this thing. And it's like, I can't accept that. It has to go through The licensing, they have to put it into practice, then they bring me just the endorsement piece, I look through and okay it, then it goes back to licensing, and then they put it into practice. So I just email them back and say, sorry, you've got to go through this other process. And so if they're asking you that process, don't ever say, we'll just send it to Carl.
That's right.
Carl, is it Travis they need to contact then? Like, who do we put them in contact with when they're asking questions about that?
If they're asking questions about endorsements,
No, the licensing.
licensing, so it depends. Is it just regular licensing questions? So probably go directly to Erica Horsley. If it's ARL, go to Bonnie Smith or Kathy Webb. If it's international teachers, international licensing, it's Shonda Moss. Those are the people that you can contact. And Shonda is SHAWNDAMOSS, Shonda Moss. And if you know how to spell their names, you know their email addresses. So shonda.moss@schools.utah.gov.
And if they're from a different state and they're looking to.
Different state is Shonda Moss.
Shonda.
So international and out of state is Shonda Moss. ARL is Bonnie Smith, Penny Ford, and Kathy Webb.
This change in UFLA just for DLI or for world language as well?
For everything, yeah. Sweet. Any other questions on that?
How about the SAEP plan? What's the easiest way for them to get that with you?
So that still has to go through the same process. So fill out the application, make sure that they follow the instructions and where to mail it, or they can email it to one of them as well. Get it to them, they begin the process, give it to me, I'll sign off on it, and then off we go. Yeah.
Well, I know that in the past that Greg said that the methods class he kind of waived if they were already teaching. Is that something that is still in place?
It's not. But what we do have is the methods class for world language. If they take the foundations course for their DLI, we count that.
Oh, okay.
So they don't have to do two different courses because the DLI foundations does have a lot of methods. We'll count that as their methods for world language along with their DLI endorsement. We'll connect those two for them.
And we have, we're offering, Carolyn suggested I just tell you, and I think Alpine is too, the foundations of dual immersion
And Wasatch.
and Wasatch.
So they and Granite is offering 2 sections now, and so I've been sending out that information like crazy. And so thank you districts for doing that because it's facilitated
And we're trying to work with Weber State to offer one in the fall as well. So
a lot of that.
Very good.
We might be offering an online version eventually.
So have Weber State contact me because I've got to approve the instructor and the content.
it's their instructor that already teaches it
Okay.
there.
And they'll just do it in your district?
Yeah. Well, it's going to be like a hybrid, like one time live and the rest online course.
Okay, I need to approve that. So just help them contact me.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah, that'd be good. Also, I've approved the BYU Online Foundations course. They're going to do an online one so that teachers coming from China or other countries can actually do the foundations course before they come. Kind of have a better understanding of what they're getting into. And as soon as that's approved, I'll be sending you the link for that as well for BYU. So we're trying to open it up as much as possible to help these teachers be ready for DLI.
So I maybe should know this, but we have a teacher that's just been accepted in the ARL program. And HR mentioned to me it's something that you can only have one endorsement attached to the license. What do we do in that case when we need 2 endorsements?
So if it's an APT license.
Oh, APT, okay.
If it's an APT.
That's what it is.
Then they can only have one endorsement. So they should go to ARL, not APT, if they're going to teach DLI right away. If they're in APT and they're going to stay at that school and be 3 years and then go to level 2 APT, then we can attach a second endorsement. After the 3 years and they've successfully taught, if they're finally get a level 2 APT, we can attach the second endorsement.
they could work with the world language endorsement for the 3 years.
Maybe you go on an essay? This is a teacher that's used her
Well, we can't because we can't attach it. They can't even, the licensing department won't even allow an SAEP because it's a second endorsement that they're allowing them to teach on an APT 1, level 1. So you can't do that either.
You would have to go ARL.
You'd have to go ARL, which is a great way because APT, as inviting as that sounds, it's limiting to the teacher. APT is a very limited
Temporary kind of
fix. And they're going through all this stuff for APT. They might as well be doing that for ARL because then they're finally licensed fully and then go anywhere. I think we're doing a disservice offering APT. But the discussion we're going to be having a little bit later in the meeting about the licensing changes is going to kind of take care of all of that.
So Carl, if we have someone who's in ARL, who's already taken the USLA oral test, do I have to have her do it again?
Yep, because she's not licensed yet.
You'll have to ask ARL that.
That's what, okay.
Because they're the ones that are making those determinations.
Okay.
Because if she was accepted and they've accepted her world language application under the old rules, they're going to live with that.
Okay.
That's my best guess from Kathy Webb. We had a long discussion yesterday. So check with Kathy, but I think you're going to be fine.
Okay.
But any new application being approved would not be able to take. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay.
Sweet. Anything else on licensing? The guide document. We'll be getting into big licensing stuff in a bit. So, okay, item 6, Bridge.
All right, I'll come over to Carl. Okay, so I think I'll sit down.
Yeah.
That's all right. So I wanted to give an update between now and August, what should be happening in schools to transition and get ready for Bridge. And so I may be repeating myself, but I just want to make sure that you know a few things that are in place. So the program is large enough that I can't just email every principal and say, please send me this stuff. So we do have a system in place. That system is supported through our website, and I thought it would be up. I thought our IT folks would get it up by today, but it will be there. So I just want to make sure everyone knows the pathway to access all of these documents. So, so if you go to L2 Trek, so the Second Language Teaching and Research Center is L2 TREC, and then on the top, thanks Carl, go to Bridge Program, and you can see they could have gone to elementary through that link, but here's all of the 5 links for the Bridge Program. Administrative documents is where I house all of the things that you might need to know. So how many people have been there? Yeah, okay, so I will try and put everything there, and if there's something that you wish were there, will you just let me know and I will add it. So for example, if you scroll down, last November, retrospectively, this is where all the information was for the very, very critical November early enrollment projection. So I can't secure you a section of Bridge without you going through that process. That's a November, December thing. Okay, so what I'll do now, what I was hoping would be up for you to see today, is the most recent. If you scroll to the top, I will put the most recent things. And so you can see here the new information I'm going to tell you about. It's okay, you can go to the top. It hasn't been, I thought it would be ready for this morning, but it will be at the top for you. And that is everything you need to know to get ready for August. So the main thing is that in terms of what your schools need to do, there are 2 things that will be up there for you. Number 1, I need to know your primary high school contact person who will sweep up all the loose ends around enrollment and registration. So that's maybe a personal conversation that you need to have or not, but there needs to be a point person that is not the high school teacher.
Is that usually an assistant principal or a counselor?
It could be assistant principal, a counselor. Some districts do an AP coordinator, but most do a CE coordinator.
Is this the document you want?
That is go to the Excel spreadsheet.
Okay.
And
That's what these are the two documents I emailed Carl so we could refer to them. So this is an Excel spreadsheet. This is a template. And so this is the information. You can just see it says at the top, the total enrollment by language needs to be submitted, completed between August 1st and sent to me between August 1st and August 19th. So I'm assuming you can send it earlier, but rosters shift. So whatever works for your high school. But that would be the window to make sure I have it. And then the course prerequisite, just to make sure you know that every institution now requires that an official AP score be sent for all new incoming students. And if there is not an AP score for new students, then there are directions on the other document of how a student would access that and send it. So it's a $15 fee to send an additional AP score. You're okay, Sharon. I think you're.
Huh? Oh.
No. Okay. So those directions are on the other of the two documents. So this is specifically this information would go to, if you partner with Dixie, you're working with them on your roster. If UVU, you're working with them. For the U of U, this is what ours looks like. So you can do whatever your institution requires, but the U of U requires this specific Excel spreadsheet. Does that make sense? I didn't say that at the beginning, I'm sorry. Okay, so the main thing is I need to know who your primary contact person is so that we can help sweep up. The second thing I need from schools with your help is I need your teacher, high school teacher name and their email. And so I want to make sure they're brought into the communication loop now as soon as possible. So those are the two school things. For the U of U only, you can actually enroll returning students now. So if a student is a current bridge student and they're planning to re-enroll, they're not waiting for an AP score, they're already in the program, they can do it now if you would like them to. And I think the other universities are working on that. You could ask. I've asked them, and so they're kind of aware of that. But that may help you with all of the challenges we have in August to get all of our students enrolled. And just to clarify, the reason why I'm doing all this is because I've found over the last 3 years of enrolling and registering students that incoming 15-year-olds are not the same student as a child who self-selects an advanced math concurrent enrollment course. Okay, the supports need to be different, and we need to be a lot more proactive, and we have a lot of kids now. We have over 1,000 students enrolling, so I'm just hoping that this can become something that's ready for your students, ready for your teachers, ready for you.
Jill, when you say enroll, you're not talking about enrolling in the university because they're already there.
Okay, good question. So you will need to re-enroll in the U. You will need to re-enroll with USHE. And that's all in this other document that's posted for you, Sharon. And that you, if you partner with the U of U, you can just print that, or you can email it to all of your families who are re-enrolling, and that's this document. So this is specific to the U, and you could all take verbiage from this for your other institutions, and if there's something that would be helpful for you. But basically, it just specifies the prerequisite. Another little piece in terms of students is that the prerequisite is a little bit different. The wording through USHE had to change because there was a legislative bill that passed this year that opened up concurrent enrollment to all students grades 9 through 12. So that is a problem for Bridge because then it blanketed in the Bridge program and it overrides the previous language of the bill that funds the Bridge program. So we need to specify that the AP exam be taken in grade 9, 10, or 11 to access the Bridge program. So that means incoming 10th graders, 11th graders, and 12th graders. Does that make sense? If you have a student who is breaks all the norms, super accelerated, the 9th grade placement in a 3,000 level upper division university language course is the right place for them, then you can propose that student enter early. However, it's not a good policy to follow. Students overall need such strong behavior, academic behavior supports to succeed in these programs, but I don't encourage any ninth grader to start a bridge. Does that make sense? Okay, so policy would be AP exam in grade 9, 10, or 11 to enter the program. And hopefully we can just put that out there. Is that okay? Any questions on that? Let's see. Okay, and then the last thing I wanted to mention is that as a team, as a bridge team, we have 2 new members of our team. So you can meet them next, well, you know some of them, I think. But Xin-Chi Fame Kao has accepted to be the state coordinator for Chinese Bridge, and she'll also be teaching a couple of sections, but she will be supporting all Chinese teachers in the state for Bridge, which is an asset to all Chinese teachers. So we're really, really happy to have her. And then we've hired for a Spanish coordinator is Maribel. Get her last name wrong because I had 2. I'm not want to say it wrong, so hang on. Anyways, delightful. She actually was previously the principal at the Salt Lake City DLI charter school.
Dual Immersion Academy.
Dual Immersion Academy for a year. So she will be joining our team, and she will be fabulous to work with as well. So our team will be focusing in part, on top of all the curriculum supports, we also will be focusing on supports for students at risk to access concurrent enrollment pathways. So like I said, a 15-year-old entering a 3,000 level course is not the same as a student who self-selects and has maybe a parent supporting and paving the way for everything to happen. We want first-generation students. We want all students to feel welcome in this class and in this community, and I think that that has depended on the environment of that the teacher sets. So we're being more proactive with what that means to support students who are first generation, students who come into college pathways who need our support in different ways. So one thing that we're beginning is we're going to have a student course evaluation. And so that will be an opportunity for your kids to take an online anonymous evaluation of how they're feeling, how they're doing in the course. I can only collect that feedback globally. If you as a district, this is similar to what Carl was saying, I have limited parameters that I can access data and collect data, but if you as a district would like to take that survey and help support your teachers to know specific classroom level feedback and then work with them to support them. It's not intended to be evaluation. It's intended to say, we think we know how our students feel, but do we know how our students feel? And this is a survey that's been developed with a lot of input from other college programs, informed by College Board, informed by a consulting firm that Granite is working with to help support first generation students. University of Chicago partners with their neighborhood districts and who are with high numbers of students in poverty, and they have these types of indicators are important for us to know. These aren't just me making up some questions, but they're informed by programs that are in place for interventions for students. So if you would like to do that, I'm going to leave it up to you to contact me. And I would love for your high school teacher to get this information on how their students feel, and for you to direct that and support that in a way that your district feels is appropriate, so that we can learn more about who our kids are and how they're perhaps different from other kids that have come through our advanced programs.
So it's anonymous, but there'll be a way for you to let us know which ones are our students.
You can add a field, yes. We'll be very happy to help with, and so to develop that so that you know, I mean, what I would love to do, if I were working in a district, what I would do is I would have just the students identify which high school and which language they're enrolled in.
So you aren't giving the survey?
I won't ask that.
Wait.
I will give the survey without that identifier, without asking which high school.
It's an online survey and we can still change it?
No, I will help you. I can help you with whatever works for your district. So it might be, each district might be different. You can use our Qualtrics survey.
So there'll be 2 different surveys.
We can help develop a survey that you use for teacher feedback.
But
Oh,
I'm
so
gonna
you
have a
can't give us
broad-
the feedback from our student on your survey.
Collecting it. I'm not collecting school level.
Right.
I will only collect program level.
Got it.
So there will be 2 surveys.
So I'm happy to develop, I have one done.
She
for
has
the
a
whole
survey,
program.
but if we want,
So your point is
tuned
if
in, we
the
have to do a
districts want a
survey.
survey, they can do one.
Yes,
But
yes.
not
and
your survey.
Right, so all the students will do the survey next fall so all the students in French feel this way. That's all I'll know. But if you would like to know in your high school, in your classroom, in your language, and feedback that the teachers can use to help drive their instruction and their supports, then I will help you to get a new version out, just for you. Any ideas on that, how I can help you, or is anyone interested? Okay, it's meant to be supportive, it's purely, I don't want this to be evaluative, it's just needs, we don't know. Teachers, I found working with teachers this past year, every single teacher has the best of intentions. I haven't doubted that for a second. But there have been conflicts that we've had to work around, and some have actually been quite a big disconnect between the perception of a teacher, and it could be, university perception is different from high school perception. That's been one example of a conflict we've had. So we just need more information to get to our teachers so that we can learn. This is a new model, this is a new program. We can't just pretend like we just keep driving the bus forward and plowing over, bystanders.
Your effort is to inform your university professor.
Yes, exactly.
Your effort would be
Can we see your
to inform
questions?
your teacher.
Yes, absolutely.
How do we do that? Will you send that to us?
Just let me know, and I'm happy. Yeah, I'll get on that.
Okay.
Yeah, I just finished our version of the survey, so I have that ready. And I'd be happy. What I could do is I could just send out the link to the survey because the students aren't taking it now. We will have that ready for fall or for August.
But if yours is to inform your teacher, then you have to disaggregate it by your teacher.
We're going to
Makes
do
by
it by
school.
I still have to work with so I may be able to work through the U of U to do something through our system, but it may end up being that each university has to do something through their system.
Right, but you have multiple teachers, what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to inform your teachers individually, you're gonna have to disaggregate
I
that.
can't yet. Yeah, I'm still working on that.
Okay.
Work in progress. So I need to move very slowly to make sure that
Nobody feels
everything
threatened.
is, yeah. So at least the survey is in place. Took a long time to create and think through the survey, and then now we have it in a digital form that's ready to go. So now we'll start layering on how it's used, how it should be used, to make sure we're in compliance with everything.
I just want to do a shout out to Jill because she has successfully navigated the treacherous world of higher education.
That's true.
I hear about stuff and I think, wow.
It's been great. That's why I took the job, right? So
I
left a great job I loved.
You're right.
And then I don't know if you have any questions on funding or on college pathways, but I already talked about college pathways at the Dli Advisory.
Do you want to talk about celebrations?
Oh, I sure do. Okay. So a couple celebrations. Carl, I don't get on Facebook enough, but maybe some of you saw
Let me see if I.
Lois's post. In terms of college articulation, our universities haven't quite believed that these students are different or real or that they're coming or that there will be more than 2 of them. All those things. And I think that is exactly the same as I felt when we were imagining students to take AP in 9th grade. And no one thought, yeah, it's a great theory, I can see the logic, but is it really gonna happen? Are significant numbers of students gonna really pass AP in 9th grade? And so here we are, right? So this is the same as I think the universities are sort of waiting. They're waiting. We have 2 years of pilot students who may have taken Bridge early through Davis or Granite or Canyon.
They're graduating this year.
Snow Canyon. Who are now in the university system, and they've showed up on campus, and some of them have written back to their teacher and said they don't know anything about this. Like, they don't even know what these courses are. They placed me in a 2000 level Spanish course. Help. I don't want to take 20, 40
blah, right? So I've been to every university and talked with departments, but I think the counseling is it's an enormous endeavor, right? The advising at the university level is huge. And so what I've attempted to do, we've now seen some fruits of. Weber has
I
been
know this is
super-
small and I can't get it up there, but there's a picture of Weber State's kind of graduating class from
Yeah.
Bridge this year. They have certificates. I mean, they really celebrated
This is
them last
Davis
night.
District, but it's Weber State certificates that they were honored
Kind of
with.
cool.
So Weber has really, I think I have to give them a lot of credit. They're really leading the way with getting ready for students to come. And they have this 2-year certificate in the language, in French, in Spanish, and in Chinese so far. And hopefully that will continue to expand. And that they're actually, they're connecting with the students. They're not just waiting for them, and they've awarded them this certificate in their language through Weber State. This is an on-campus. This is an on-campus certificate.
Really cool.
So that's really neat. And another thing happened at Taylorsville High School. The students who have been working hard for years and years and years of dual immersion, stuck with it through that first cohort. They decided they had a campus visit to the U of U, and they're asking me, well, what are you going to do? Like, we stuck with this. How are we going to be celebrated? What kind of party are we going to have? They're asking me what party I was going to go. You're like, donuts? Sprinkles, maybe? So they, to their credit, they went into their principal's office together, and as good seniors should, taking action. I love it. I love it. And they asked Emmy, their principal, if they could have a special chord in graduation, because this is not a club. This is more than a club. This is not in any way like a club that you would have asking every single club to have something recognized. This is a program. This is a course of academic study. It's an advanced college pathway, right? So Emmy has a special chord that Liddell is using to honor them. So every high school would have to make that decision, and district, however you want to support them, but they will be honored at graduation.
So great.
Any other celebrations from you all with Bridge? Anything happening? Yeah.
Well, we did our senior night, and so when all the scholarships and everything were awarded, and the Bridge students were honored then.
All right.
That's neat.
So it's kind of like unreal a little bit. All of these dreams and sweat and hard work and falling down and making mistakes and building it up again these kids are finally graduating, and it's so exciting. I don't even have words, I guess. It's just phenomenal.
So the last link I want to mention on our website that I'll be putting up there is sort of a rough draft. Well, it's not there, but it will be there at the top of that administrative page. Is the college pathways? It's called the Bridge Program Minor Major Pathways, and it will spell out for a student. I don't know how you want to get this out, but I would recommend you get it to your counselors, number one, and I will certainly send the link to your current instructors, but you need to get it to all instructors. And maybe even to your junior high, DLI and elementary, to let them know what's the purpose of this, where does this go. So the vision has always been a K-16 pathway. So this document is the baby steps of getting the university to commit to what courses do I take if I took 3 Bridge courses in high school. What's next for me? If I go to USU, what's my next course? And it tells them.
We haven't seen this. I mean, this is new, right?
This is new. We barely made it. I was trying to have it ready by March 1st, and we're just barely getting all the information. And there's some universities that haven't submitted, but at this point, we're going for it. We have 4 out of 6, and the others will come. We have 4 out of 6 that are teaching Bridge, partnering with Bridge.
Once they see that without their name.
Yeah, exactly. So the bottom line is that these courses do need to count. You can't retro place students back into 2000 level course. You do have to pass the course with a C, or one university says a C minus or higher for it to count toward a minor or major. Those things are all there. It's university specific. But if you have the seniors in your current Bridge classes, I hope this gets to them. You know, like, who do I go to? There's a name, there's an email of the advisor in languages, so they don't get lost in undergraduate advising who may not know yet. Hopefully they will know.
What's the update on BYU?
BYU has a piece there. They did submit, and I just copied and pasted what they submitted to me, and they will continue to work through. They have Spanish already set with their articulation because that was the first course that was.
Chinese, are they getting?
They're coming. Oh, they're coming. Yeah. So we're getting there. Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Jill. All right, meeting dates. You have a handout that looks like this. I just thought it would be important for you to have all of the dates for next year.
Thank you.
All the world language meetings are there, location. Thank you to Sherry for hosting us at Auditorium B&E in the two-story building for all 3 meetings. So that's wonderful. You'll see admin outing, English partner teacher outing, and teacher outing for 2020. And then you'll see our DLI team, which is just our state team, meeting dates. But two items that I wanted to bring to your attention, that's why it's here, is Friday, September 20th, 2019. We are meeting with our EIS team. It's the study that we're doing, the $3 million study. And we would love to have a representative from each school district to come and listen to the mid-year report, because it's almost ended and we'll be putting out a report by next March and of 2020. So, but we wanted to give you a preview of the content and what we found for our DLI program, and it's looking really good. This meeting will be held at the Aspen Room in the State Capitol, in the Senate Building in the Aspen Room. So if you'll send a representative from your school district or 2 to listen to that report and to give feedback and to understand what's happening before the publishing comes out of the full study, it's pretty incredible the amount of information, data, and analysis that we've been able to do. So it's great. The other one that I wanted to is in yellow, April 24th of 2020. That is going to be our DLI Advisory Council. And in that, item number 8 on our agenda, the Fall DLI Advisory Council, we are not going to hold that as we had in the past. I'm just going to be available to you to go out and meet with your district. This year, we took an entire team and required, a whole bunch of people to be there, and it was a big production. We loved it. We got a lot of feedback. This year, I'm going to pare it down and just offer me, if you need me, I'll come out. You just make an appointment and I'll come out and talk to anybody you want or provide any feedback you want. And so you'll need to reach out to me. I won't be reaching out to you. I'll be letting people know, but.
Can I hang on your coattails if anybody needs
Yes.
anything with Chinese? Feel free.
Yeah. I'm sure all of our directors and coordinators are feeling the same way. Please let us know. That is our job, is to come out and help and support you. We want to be listening and hearing what you're saying so that we can do that. So hopefully this is helpful to you. Okay, any questions on that and the dates? Yes,
So
Carol.
just make one reminder, if you have new school administrators and this year or last year, or coaches, instructional coaches, the administrator outing on this June 17th and 18th in Granite District, you can register them online. We're trying to get that registration in, and we're hoping that you take advantage of this for your new principals or coaches.
It's all in Midas, and you can just look up, if you don't know the code, just look up Audi, and it'll be Audi 2019, and then they'll have all the sections for all of the languages and all of the dates and locations. So if you'll get that registered, that'd be great. Jill?
I just want to add that we do need high school instructors to register through the U. So they register through Midas to receive their recertification, their certificate credits, but they need to register so we know they're coming and we know who they are through the U. So I think everyone received the one-page flyer that has all of the language bridge program. Maybe I could have Carl resend that. Would that be all right? It came out once through Carl. Want to have you resend that today, if that's all right?
Yep.
Just so I don't miss any of you. And so it has for all the current languages, for Spanish, French, and Chinese, the registration links. So there's a content workshop to support how do I teach French 3116 next year. There's a workshop for Spanish and for Chinese as well. And then the August dates, you need to register through the U for the Bridge Program Institute. Thank you.
All right. So, any other questions on that? Licensing changes, this is lovely. And I'm focusing on changes not so much that we're going to go through every little piece, but how it affects DLI, and that is ARL. If you're thinking of placing an ARL teacher, you're thinking of doing that kind of thing, then it's important that you understand that by July 31st, 2019, ARL applications will be accepted. No application will be accepted after this date for ARL. It's going away. Yeah. So existing applications can still be processed and plans will be written. So you can read through kind of the agenda there. You'll have until July 31st to submit an ARL application. And then ARL applications could be accepted after that date only if a school principal or human resource rep contacts ARL directly on the applicant's behalf, indicating that the applicant is hired. Or so, for example, if you have an ARL in August and this person is the very best one, then your principal or your HR director can contact Kathy Webb directly, and they'll talk it through and see if they can accept that person. So they're trying to be as accommodating as possible as these changes come.
What's taking the place?
That's what we're going to talk about.
Okay.
So any questions on the July 31st deadline? Sweet. By December 31st, 2019, no new plans will be written for ARL at all. So if the person isn't cooperating or working with, after their application is in, and not working with the ARL department to get their plan finished, by December 31st, 2019, they're done. No new plans will be written, no exception. So current ARL candidates who have received their results letter with at least one content eligible area have until December 31st to be hired and have a current and eligible teaching assignment posted in Cactus, and then request an ARL confirmation of employment form. They'll need to do that by December 31st to be able to then have that taken care of. Current ARL participants employed with an ARL professional growth plan will continue in ARL until their PGPs or their 3 academic year expires. If the ARL participant has not completed the PGP and it has not expired on or after July 1st of 2020, ARL participants may choose to switch to their district-hosted educator preparation program or to finish their PGP through ARL. So we'll talk about that in the educator preparation program at the district level. Any questions on that?
I don't know what to ask.
What's in there, Carl?
I don't know what to ask. Oh, this is tequila, by the way. No. You got to deal with this, all this stuff.
Yeah.
So July 1st, 2020, all new licensing rules will take effect. And I've given you the rule R277-301 and the link, and I've given you a copy of that so you can review it, and it gives you all of the pieces there. And then R277-303 are what the kind of alternative pieces are. So I've also given you a link. Travis came and presented at kind of the mentor coordinators meeting at a state meeting here, and spent about an hour and a half going through all of the changes and answering questions and everything else. I've given you the YouTube link. I've given you the minute, 3:15 25, where he starts, so that you don't have to go through 3 hours and trying to find it.
Thank you.
You can slide on that red thing, you can slide the dot over to that point and then start listening if you're really, really interested. But what it's saying is that ARL is going away and APT is going away. But what they're putting in place is a district called LEA specific
license.
Oh, really?
LEA specific license, and the district then becomes the teacher preparation program or a university program for that LEA specific license. So we've already had a call from a school district that came and met with Kathy Webb and said, we aren't equipped to do that, we don't want to do that, we will not be doing that. So it's a lot. You have to become kind of if you're going to take that on, you have to kind of become the educator preparation for this particular license. When it's I can't even say it anymore. LEA specific.
So, like the LEA specific now?
Yeah.
It's different.
Will it get funding? Like right now, if you have an LEA specific, the PD funding. So, will it carry another license? And
I
then
don't know.
Okay.
And then will this, because right now the state still approves LEA specific licenses.
Skip that.
Will that still?
That would still have to be the case, but then you have to determine whether the LEA specific is through university coursework or through your district coursework.
Which is similar to what the APT was, right? Where we did those
Except
courses.
Except that it's going to be, APT is limited, LEA specific won't be. It'll be a regular license when they're finished. Stacy and then Carolyn?
It was kind of similar to what she was saying, of just clarifying. So the existing district-specific license pathway will be replaced by this.
And the rules kind of talk about that. You have copies of those you can go through, and then you can listen to Travis's explanation and answering questions. So he'll probably answer all the questions that you have as well. I am not versed in that. I haven't spent time in that. But I wanted to provide you the resources to become aware of that. Carolyn.
Currently, the district-specific license, you can only work in that district.
That's my question.
Will that still be the parameter?
I have no idea. That's what I'm saying. I don't know that.
Good thing to know, because if they change districts, they just start all over again.
So then the people who currently have a specific, district-specific, are they going to need to shift now to the new requirements, or?
I think if they have a district-specific.
If they've got it, they've already got it.
They've got it.
That's only good for 3 years anyway, so eventually they'd have to do something.
Yeah, it's only good for 3 years, and so they can do that. Tristan and then Sharon?
No, that was my question.
Oh.
Can districts team up to help provide that coursework? Can more than one district offer it and they
They
help?
can. It just, if you want to work together and provide that.
Did you just say it's only valid for 3 years?
I'm sorry, say it again.
Did you just say the district-specific license is only valid for 3 years?
Our current one is.
Is it?
I didn't know that.
I didn't know.
So the
They have to
district,
renew it, don't
They have to renew it. They start as a level 1 educator, and then after 3 years, they move to a level 2 educator. So they renew it just like we renew our license.
Yeah, they renew it just like you use it
But
for
they
the
have to
district
renew it.
specific.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is going to be like, but
yeah, under a current LEA license, they can't upgrade to level 2 unless they move to a regular license. But it's only just 3 years, and it has to say level 1 LEA every time they renew.
work through that until it can move to a regular standard license, right?
Yeah.
Just change.
Okay, so this is all changing effective 2020,
teacher
right?
that we sponsored for an H-1 visa.
So
We
will
did district-specific license.
relicensing, we've got teachers whose licensing are coming
that's the
up
only
along
people
with
who
their
do it.
visas next year. Will relicensing change at all before the?
Are they upgrading to like level 2? Do they have existing licenses?
Right.
That'll be fine.
Okay.
Had international.
Because we have to have the license before, right, we still have to have the visa to get, or the license to get the visa. It was gonna change this year, but obviously it's pushed back to
So hopefully, as you listen to Travis, you can provide the answers to your questions on this. But I wanted you to understand ARL and APT and the timeline for those. If you're working with people in ARL, make sure they're really on it. They can finish up. All right, and I'm not going to ask if there are any more questions on that because I don't know the answer. There are no more answers.
Fair enough.
So, number 10, seal of biliteracy reporting. You have a copy of what Sharon Gracia, I'm sorry to put you on the spot, Sharon, but I really loved it. I really thought it was comprehensive. It looks like this.
Yeah, the last page.
Could I request that you maybe, not this specific, but send me languages, send me how many, I'm going to start creating a database of how many COs we're giving out. I know that your SIS system has them, and I know that they'll be recorded and they'll be in Utrex. But it takes me a long time to finally get that data. So I would love to be able to begin to have this kind of information built for every school district. And I'll be sending that out to all school districts to ask for, just send me the language, the school, and they'll just let me know how many. That would be great. And then we can start building that. So thanks, Sharon, for that, and kind of.
And I do know that Vietnamese is spelled wrong, so you don't have to tell my things.
No worries. Also, I want to get your feedback on this too, and that is, I've talked to a couple of high schools, and they say, well, we don't let clubs do chords, and I'm thinking, well, seal of biliteracy, having a seal of biliteracy chord or some kind of recognition for seal of biliteracy is not a club. It's a huge accomplishment. I'm just wondering how you would feel about me suggesting to high schools to provide that for our seal of biliteracy recipients. High school.
We do it. We're doing it.
So Washington is doing it, Salt Lake. You're doing that as well? That's fantastic.
We have some schools that have chosen to do that too. I didn't tell them what color. I didn't know if there was a particular color we should do.
Well, they each
It would be nice to have a color.
Well, but we found that they have different, I don't know, our high schools each have different chords, meaning different colors.
Oh, okay.
And
They can do
so,
whatever.
at first I was trying to like
Specific.
dictate what, and then it's like, okay,
whatever you want.
they're gonna do whatever they
They've got
want.
their-
and then-
they've got their ideas.
I thought the colors were specific to specific things.
We're doing a stole
nationwide.
next year.
No.
And
Oh.
if you don't know what a stole is, I was calling it a scarf for a really long time. Anyway, it's a stole. And it's going to say seal of biliteracy on it, because I said I want
that's what I had.
everyone to
Stole,
know
it goes
what
like
those
this.
kids are earning.
Just
And I don't
up
want to
and
have
down.
them look it up and say what color the cord is.
Make that.
It's right on there. They're even talking about Justin's is working on making the seal embroidered on the stole, and we're probably gonna rent them unless the kid wants to buy them.
That's a good idea.
So
And you just wear it every
take them
year, put
back
it back in the
and store it so
closet.
we can keep them. And if you
I
think
would love that.
That's a great idea.
Are you
Great
you're not
idea.
gonna get this
Rent
year?
it,
We couldn't, because it's a long story, but we couldn't get it happening fast enough.
Okay.
So, next year.
Your Justin, or your, whoever provides your cap and gowns and stuff has lots of different ideas and
Yeah.
just all kinds of options.
So I guess my job would be is high schools or districts, can you suggest to your high schools to provide some kind of recognition for seal of biliteracy recipients? Sweet, okay.
And just having contact with, like when I sent the data, I sent it to the principals and the head counselor, but I also sent it to whoever's in charge of their senior awards banquet. So if you can find out who that is, that way they can get that recognition of the senior awards banquet as well. And I also sent it to my world language teachers, so they know who got it.
That's so great. And you did the same. Senior Awards Banquet, Seal of Biliteracy. Yeah, it's getting better and better all the time, so thank you so much. Any, like number 11, any projects you're starting in or kind of want to celebrate, or? I mean, you're already overworked as it is, right?
Getting everybody here. Is anybody doing the online dual?
The pilot.
The pilot?
Oh, yeah.
So, let me tell you about that. The new legislation that came out as Senate Bill 173, I will be putting together an application that it'll go through Utah Grants. It's an application where you can select schools for up to 20 students in your school district per year to provide an online course for those students who did not get into dual immersion in first grade, and maybe for the parent, the odd parent who wants to homeschool and do dual immersion. I have said no, but maybe for that year, if they're really needing out, let them be one of the online courses, let them do homeschool and online course to maintain their language, and then let them back in the program. But still, the policy still stands that they either need to be in or out. So your first grade students who didn't make it in, you can identify those students who want to provide that. You'll need to do your own purchasing process of how to do that, and we will provide money for you to pay for that for the year. You don't need to reapply for the same student for the coming years. It's a 4-year pilot. We will fund that for 4 years. But for the next year, if you'll let us know how many new students you're going to need it for, if you've identified 18 or if you've been, whatever, we'll send that money through the grant system again to provide online courses for those new first grade students. And so it's going to be a pilot. We'll see. Lots of places to.
Do you know of any districts that are going to plan to do it?
Nobody has signed up yet because the application hasn't been put out. So I'm putting it out there. You can kind of get your whistles wetted a little bit. If you really want to do this, we can't make you do it, but it is a pilot and we invite you to do it. Yes?
Do you know what the learning platform is?
That's what you get to
You have to pick it.
You get to decide.
Good luck with
Pilot
that.
people.
Maybe there's a case here. How can you call it immersion if they are not in the classroom?
Correct. That's how come I said there are lots of pitfalls. That's why it's a pilot. Senator Andrew, there's not a. It's the online. It's online. If there's a teacher in the online thing that you select, like Mandarin Matrix, or if you're selecting the VIP Kid for learning Chinese or whatever, back and forth. If you're selecting a Spanish one and they can work on it as long as they want every day. They can work on it an hour a day if they get home from school and can work at home, and their parents can motivate them enough to stick with it for an hour. I just don't think.
Who's designing it?
Nobody.
You have to just select. You have to go out and find a vendor.
Oh, we have to purchase. No list.
Yeah.
Don't forget.
It's in the legislation that the LEA will seek and provide the vendor and the online course.
Oh, so the pilot that is already created for dual immersion. Just language programs.
So that's why I said there are lots of places
some new elementary schools.
Pitfall and to not work. I'm trying to be supportive, and I'm going to be supportive. I know this is recorded, but I'm trying.
So Carl, in the legislation, does it say that if the child does this blah, blah, blah for 2 years and finally there's an opening in 3rd grade, the district still has to have some criteria to know that they can
The legislation is very clear on what the criteria is.
What is that criteria?
The criteria is that first the child has to pass the grade level Apple test.
Okay. Don't give that
There's
till.
not a criteria.
Third grade.
We don't even give it till 3rd grade.
I know.
Oh,
So it's a year by year then?
Year by year, if there's no room, and if there has been attrition enough that there's room in that classroom
Must be
in
room
your
for
school.
them to try.
So those two factors have to work together, that there's room in the class and they pass the Apple test according to their grade level. And usually attrition happens third, fourth grade. That's where you're going to kind of find some attrition. So we will have the Apple test for those students. I mean, you can give a first grader an Apple test and we'll know that they're a novice. You know, we just haven't given first and second grade the benchmark. So, but we will kind of get a sense of where that student is and if they're working hard. If it's a heritage speaker, you know that they're doing well. You know that the parents are working with them. You know that it's happening, and they're doing well with the Apple test. And there is a location or place in the classroom. You make that determination and put them in. So there are also reporting requirements for you back to USBE, and that is, what platform have you chosen? How many students have you chosen to be on the platform and in which languages? And how many students have passed the Apple and what your attrition rate is and how many students you've placed in the pilot into schools?
Do parents know about this? I mean, do we have any obligation to let them know, or do we, I mean?
That's a good question. The question is, the answer to that is this. If your school district is interested in doing it, you're going to want to tell the parent.
Right.
Because you're going to want to select students. And you're going to want to select the parent that will help and motivate the student after their 6 hours of school
to
take it on at home. And that's going to be a first grade.
6 years old.
Who will be paying for their Apple testing?
We will.
First grade and second grade, you will?
We will. We'll arrange with LTI to provide that for you. They'll bill me, and I'll pay for it for you.
How much money does the LEA get for this platform and program we're gonna find?
We'll determine that probably usually they're between $75 to $150 a year, around in there. The pilot has been funded for 4 years with a one-time allotment of $100,000. So as we multiplied that out, 20 students by about 10 school districts, 200 kids per year per 4 years, it's about $100,000. So,
And if no one does it, what happens to that money?
then it just sits there.
This whole thing.
But
one parent.
will it ever come back?
No, it just sits there for 4 years, and then the fiscal analyst says, looks like the pilot didn't work. They retract it, goes back, and.
We didn't need it, is what they.
So I'm encouraging you to participate. I'm encouraging you to apply and see if we can help some of these kids be ready for immersion if they don't get in. What I mostly encourage you to do is open more schools. We have the funding for more schools. More parents want in. You have waiting lists up the wazoo. You do. You need to open more schools in the state, folks. We really do. I encourage you. Yes, Tristan.
I know years ago they weren't going to open any more one-way Spanish programs. Is that still the case?
No. We've opened a one-way Spanish in Alpine last year.
Okay.
And I've approved Treeside Charter in Provo as a one-way Spanish. And Esperanza is a 90-10, and Dual Immersion Academy is a 90-10. Let me explain to you how that's working for them, so that when you hear that, they're part of the program, that, oh no, what do we do? So any program that wants to do a 90-10 can apply, but the assurances are very different. The assurances are that they will get the $10,000 to start first grade. They will get an additional $5,000 to hire a mutually approved consultant to provide PD and content or whatever they need for that 90-10, 1 through 4. Because their models move up, if they want to apply for a 50-50 approval for 5th and 6th, like Dual Immersion Academy is 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 7th, 8th, and 9th, they're 50-50 working through the secondary. We will approve that 50-50, but they have to live by our assurances, 2-teacher model, the whole shebang, use our stuff, everything like that. So that's how that's working for our 90-10. They are part of the program under the new legislation in 2018, but they are separate. And they have their own consultant, and they have their own process of doing that. It's malpractice to give a 90-10 the 50-50 model content and 10-day plan and stuff, because it's not designed for that. And so they've realized that. They were wanting access to all of the materials. They said no, because it's not designed for you. That's why we're giving you money to provide a consultant, to design your own, to be successful in your own model until you get to fifth grade. And if you want to then commit to the 50-50 according to the assurances, we'll fund that as well. Does that make sense? Yeah. That's how that's working for them. Yes.
And so then if we have students that transfer from those schools, do they just get the automatic transfer because they're dual immersion students, part of our state model, or do we assess them? What do we do?
So the only worry I have is that their English delay in the 90-10. And so you're going to find maybe if a second grader's coming in, you might have to provide a little more English support. But your English 50-50 teacher will be able to do that, and I think it'll be fine. I would put them in if you have.
We put them in. We
always have.
If you have attrition and you have the room, put them in. I mean, we don't want to punish the kids. It's not their fault. Their parents are moving them.
We don't have that many that come.
Mary Beth?
Different subject, but could we have a copy of all the secondary course codes? Again, just.
Yes, and I'm going to put it in this
the bridge
format.
program too?
Those are on the admin. I have just the high school codes on the admin
can I
site,
have
but I don't
those?
have the 7
But
through 9.
I'm going to put it in this format along
Right.
with the licensing stuff, and I'll be sending that out to you in the next few
With
days.
and do we have, I know with the history, culture, and media, we had 4 different sections but we didn't for Chinese, is that?
Those have now been built,
Great.
and starting July 1, those will come out,
Cool.
and
Okay.
we'll have all those course codes for French, Portuguese, Chinese, Spanish already had them. So we are building those 4 courses for
Great,
you.
thank you.
They're done, they're just sitting in Cactus ready to start. Anything else?
Question.
Carrie, and then over here, sorry.
I was just wondering, will we be able to have maybe information about Audi coming up as coordinators, which dates might be important for us to attend if there's new information, or since we're trying to go to multiple languages sometimes?
Right. So as I talk to the different directors and finding out how we can do that, for Spanish, you probably won't have that until mid-July. Other directors, the caution I have for you in this is this. And what we found in the past when we had provided that, I'm getting from directors this piece of information, that district folks would tell their teachers when to attend and when not to attend to get the new information. That's not the purpose of Audi. They need to attend everything. And so when we provided that in the past, then the teachers were starting to be selective of when they would come and when they wouldn't. So we want to stop that or I know I'm not pointing fingers at anybody here. I'm just saying that has happened in the past. So when we provide that information to you, it's for your use and to help teachers all be there for the full time, either first year or second year. That would be important. Yes, Carrie, and then second
A
follow-up.
follow-up to that, then. I know that on some of them, when teachers change grade levels, they're only supposed to attend certain parts of it, not first year all over again. I have at least 2 that are waiting to hear that information as well, so that they know and can plan their schedules around that. That's a different situation where they already attended before but are now switching grade levels.
Would they be in the second year teacher Audi anyway? It's a 2-day?
One is, but the other one has been teaching longer than that, and
Go
it's
to the
just.
second year, and then it's more specific to those 2 days.
second year? No, it's the first year when they do like the science or the literacy or something specific to the new grade levels.
Yeah. Like when
Depends on the
when they are moving from fourth
Depends on
grade
the
to
language.
sixth grade, and they have
That's
social
true. I
studies.
don't know with the other languages.
Okay, I'll put it out to the directors and let them be in contact with you. Great. Any other, oh, yes.
Similarly, in the past, I've had to, and I'm happy to not do this, but I've had sixth grade teachers that are in middle school, and there historically hasn't been, I know that that's changing, but the reason why teachers were like, well, I need to know the agenda because I teach sixth grade, but I teach it in middle school. And historically, it was like, well, there's secondary, and then there's sixth grade social studies. And then, so if we have secondary that includes sixth grade, I think that'll help, right? And I know that's been happening a lot, but it doesn't happen in every language. So that's when teachers have to decide, well, do I go to sixth grade and learn about my curriculum from the elementary Audi, and then I go to secondary to learn about my other, and then I have teachers that teach 6th, 7th, and 8th. So they need to know the agendas, not because they don't want to come, but because they're kind of in this weird place where they don't know which ones to go to because they're teaching all grades, and one of those grades is elementary and 2 of them are secondary. So, and I don't know if teachers that teach 7, 8, 9 have the same problem.
Not like, I've got sixth graders in there.
Yeah. So that's one reason that the agenda helps us and how I've tried to direct teachers with that. My other comment was I've really enjoyed how the dual websites have been supporting us as district specialists, or whatever everybody's district calls it something else. But so the administrative site looking that way. I was wondering if, because all of these, we get a lot of, oh, will you send that out to everyone, send it out to everyone. I'm wondering if some of these documents, if there could be a, not just administrator link on that page, but maybe a district specialist link that you could password protect as well. And then all these documents could be there for our reference. So when you update something, we always know that the website has the most up-to-date Apple or the most up-to-date dates for advisory council, and we don't have to go back through.
So I have an answer for that, and I'd just like Lydia to stand up for me. Lydia, she is moving responsibilities and coming to work with me at USBE. She's going to be our new webmaster and media coordinator. So we can have an in-house person to do just that.
Yay!
We know that we needed that. Now the funding to do that. So let's welcome Lydia. Provide a space for specifically world language and
Like district coordinators,
District
so all these,
coordinators.
like you don't want it out to everyone.
Carl, that means
Yeah.
there'll be a French secondary site now then?
Right, but for
Yes.
us.
Yay.
So Lydia's going to be working with all the languages to build those up and to kind of clean up the ones that have been sitting there forever, links that are broken, all that stuff. It's going to take a little bit, but I think she's up to the task and ready to help us. Yes.
Just a comment on that. The administrator side is for any leadership person in anywhere God's green earth, okay? We're not going to have a separate one for district specialists because that is for you, the administrator side, and there's no special way to get in. You just get in, and all those documents that you're referring to, we just keep adding them to that. But I can't see that we're going to have a separate, Lois will lose her mind.
But what we can do is have a separate world language piece.
Right, yeah, for world language.
For world language, and that's a whole different website.
That's a different one you're talking about then.
Well, I think separating those out,
Oh, yeah.
because it's important, like, for example.
Some people don't have DLI, they have world language.
This gentleman from Weber, new person.
Art. Welcome.
Art. He's only world language. And I know that this meeting is world language DLI leadership, and we mix a lot of DLI with the world language because it's so connected. But, I mean, if he wants a document, You shouldn't have to go to a DLI website to get it,
Yeah.
right?
Or I have a second.
Yeah, but on the administrators one, Carolyn, it can just be one of those little pull downs that's something that's specific for coordinators they can click on.
That's what it is.
Not a new site, just on the same site.
Yeah, we'll work through that. Sweet.
Make it happen.
Any
so
other
everybody's happy.
comments or concerns or?
That's right.
Anticipate. Anticipate all the problems. Good luck.
Really? Really? Sweet. Thank you, everybody. Wow, an hour out. That's great. 11 o'clock.
Also here.